One of the questions that I had is obviously Ukraine has a rich history in kind of resources and mining. How would you describe it as a mining jurisdiction in terms of that the regulations and permitting processes?
Okay. Yeah, indeed, Ukraine is it's got a very long-lasting history in mining. Traditionally, it's been like coal mining. As you know, coal mining, there is a lot of oil and gas exploration, extraction as well. And Ukraine, historically Ukraine, so comparing to the European Union, right? Currently, all of the environmental and permitting regulations, they are less stringent than in the European Union. But overall, Ukraine is kind of following the lead of the European Union. So a lot of the mining legislation and a lot of the environmental legislation is effectively tracing what has been done in the European Union, but with the lack of, let's say, 3, 5 to 7 years, right? Effectively, the government of Ukraine is expecting a situation that when obviously the country is to be joining the European Union, all of these sets of regulations and environmental and permitting regulations as well, they would need to be totally matching those of the European Union. And also, I have to credit now the current lead in the State Geological Survey of Ukraine, because those guys, I think, in my opinion, are really doing a remarkable job of actually going ahead of, you know, the rest of the regulatory bodies that are trying to align the regulatory frameworks, and they've done a lot of things. So let's say such things may be pretty customary for a more developed markets, but for Ukraine, I think it's truly nice. So they've done this electronic atlas where you could see all of the mining licenses that are about to be put to the auction, that are about to be put to for the product sharing agreement tenders and anything else. So for any potential investor looking into mining sector in Ukraine, it's pretty easy to come over, have a very friendly communication with the State Geology Survey to see all of the information in the electronic format and to get engaged kind of, you know, into this thing. Now, before the war started, Ukrainian government actually initiated another pretty interesting things. They have set up a framework which basically promotes and actually subsidizes any both foreign and local investments. So there are specific criteria. So if you invest more than 20 million euros, set up more than like 50 to 100 new workplaces, and also follow certain environmental criteria, then you will be getting a pretty reasonable benefits in terms of exemption from corporate taxation and other things. So basically, I would count and expect that in 5-7 years, and subject to Ukraine joining the European Union, the regulatory frameworks would be pretty much aligned by that time.
Okay, great. And then another kind of industry that I know that Ukraine is well established in is as services to the automotive industry. I know that in wire harnessing, for example, that Ukraine has long been well established in that. We've heard a lot about how Hungary has been so successful in developing a hub around gigafactories and electric vehicles. Do you see the potential for developing a similar hub in the Ukraine?
I think it would depend on a number of factors, right? So historically, there is a very good base of technical knowledge, right? So there are a lot of engineers, there are a lot of technical people. So technical and engineering workforce is definitely available. There's been a number of large-scale automotive production facilities in Ukraine historically. There are some obviously now. There's been a large joint venture with a Korean producer like this Deo, it was actually located in Zaporizhia, which is now like semi-occupied, so it's now under question mark, obviously. But basically, obviously, Ukrainian government considers lithium as well as like lithium, titanium, and other strategic minerals. They really consider them strategic, and I'm having a number of, like, let's say, GR communications with some of the regulatory body, mining minister, etc. So their first and foremost expectation is that we kind of, and that is also one of the, let's say, political reasons why we have added up the downstream. So there is obviously an economic reason for adding up the downstream, but also the government of Ukraine would really like to see that if our project is to progress forward, that we do not simply become, you know, like a raw material type of thing, supplying concentrate. They ideally probably would have liked us to be doing the batteries, but, you know, that takes me a lot of time to explain why I would not to be doing, want to be doing that. But you know, the baseline scenario, which would make everyone comfortable, is actually producing the lithium chemicals. Basically, that's going to be an okay story for everyone, I think.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again. I think we're coming up against time now, but thanks again for the presentation and for joining us,
Yep,
and for taking those questions. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.